You're sitting in that meeting, the one where everyone nods, where everyone agrees, where everyone smiles and says great idea to the boss even though you all know it's terrible. And you watch someone, let's call him David, lean forward with perfect timing. He doesn't disagree. He never disagrees. He just asks a question. A careful, strategic question that makes the boss think it was his own idea to reconsider. And by the end of the meeting, the decision has changed. David looks humble. The boss feels smart. Everyone else played nice and lost. You just watched Machiavelli at work, and you didn't even know it. Here's what nobody tells you about the world. It's not a meritocracy. It never was. It never will be. The people who succeed aren't always the most talented, the most hardworking, or the most ethical. They're the most strategic. They understand something you were taught to ignore, something your parents didn't want you to know, something school never taught you. Power has rules, and if you don't learn them, you'll spend your entire life wondering why less capable people keep winning while you keep losing. Welcome to Machiavelli's world, and whether you like it or not, you're already living in it. Niccolo Machiavelli wrote The Prince in 1513, over 500 years ago, and yet everything he observed about power, strategy, and human nature is more relevant today than ever. Because here's the uncomfortable truth. Human nature hasn't changed. We're still the same creatures driven by fear, ambition, self-interest, and survival. We just have better phones now. Machiavelli wrote The Prince as a manual for leaders, a handbook for acquiring and maintaining power, and it was so brutally honest, so ruthlessly pragmatic, so stripped of moral pretense that it shocked the world. The Catholic Church banned it. People called it evil. His name became synonymous with manipulation and deception. Machiavellian became an insult. But here's what's fascinating. The people who publicly condemned it were privately reading it. Kings studied it. Politicians memorized it. Business leaders applied it. Why? Because it works. And that's what makes you uncomfortable, isn't it? The fact that it works. That the strategies Machiavelli describes, the tactics he recommends, the cynical view of human nature he presents, all of it actually reflects reality. You want to believe the world rewards goodness, fairness, honesty, hard work. You want to believe that if you just keep your head down and do good work, you'll be recognized and rewarded. You want to believe that nice guys finish first. But look around, really look. Who's getting promoted at your company? Is it the person who does the best work, or the person who makes sure the boss knows about their work? Is it the most competent person, or the most visible one? Is it the person with the best ideas, or the person who knows how to position their ideas? Is it the honest person who speaks uncomfortable truths, or the strategic person who tells people what they want to hear? You know the answer. You've always known the answer. You just didn't want to accept it. Because accepting it means accepting that maybe, just maybe, you've been playing the game wrong your entire life. It means accepting that all those times you lost, all those times you were passed over, all those times less qualified people got ahead, it wasn't bad luck. It wasn't unfair. It was predictable. You didn't understand the rules. Let me tell you what Machiavelli understood that you don't. He understood that there are two games happening simultaneously in every human interaction. There's the game everyone pretends they're playing, the one with rules about fairness and merit and doing the right thing. And then there's the real game, the one actually determining outcomes, the game of power, perception, and strategic positioning. Most people only see the first game. The winners are playing the second one. Here's Machiavelli's most famous line, the one everyone knows. It is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both. And immediately, people react. That's horrible. That's cynical. That's cold. But notice what he actually said. If you cannot be both, he's not saying don't try to be loved. He's saying when forced to choose, when you can only have one, fear is more reliable than love. Why? Because love is fickle. Love is conditional. Love changes with circumstances, with moods, with what someone else offers. But fear is consistent. Fear is predictable. Fear keeps people in line when love would let them drift. Think about it in your own life. Not dramatic fear, not terror, just the fear of consequences, the fear of disappointing someone, the fear of losing something valuable, the fear of looking bad. That fear motivates behavior more consistently than affection does. Your boss, who everyone loves, people slack off, take advantage, break rules because they know he won't do anything. The boss people fear displeasing, deadlines get met, standards get maintained, results happen. Machiavelli isn't telling you to be cruel. He's telling you to be effective. He's telling you to understand how humans actually work, not how you wish they worked. And here's where it gets really interesting. Machiavelli says the most important skill isn't being good or being evil. It's knowing when to be which. Listen to this. A prince must learn how not to be good, and to use this knowledge or not use it according to necessity. Read that again. He must learn how not to be good, and use that knowledge when necessary. This isn't about being evil. This is about being flexible, strategic, willing to operate outside your comfort zone when the situation demands it. You know that person who's so committed to being nice that they let people walk all over them. That's someone who never learned how not to be good. They're rigid, predictable, easy to exploit. Compare that to someone who's generally kind, generous, supportive, but who everyone knows has boundaries, has teeth, can and will push back when necessary. Who do people respect more? Who gets better outcomes? Machiavelli would say the second person understands the game. They know how to be good. They also know how not to be good. And most importantly, they know when to deploy each. Let me show you what this looks like in real life. You're working on a project with a colleague, let's call her Sarah. You do most of the work. You know it. She knows it. But when it's time to present to leadership, Sarah positions herself as the co-lead, talks about our work, subtly takes credit for your ideas. You could call her out. You could be direct, honest, say, actually, I did most of this work. But what happens? You look petty. You look like you're not a team player. You look bad, even though you're telling the truth. So what does the Machiavellian approach look like? You don't call her out publicly. You don't fight that battle. Instead, you start documenting everything. You send Sarah emails summarizing your contributions. You copy relevant people on key updates. You schedule a separate conversation with your boss, not to complain about Sarah, but to get feedback on your specific work, walking them through what you built. You play the long game. You build your own visibility strategically, while Sarah burns her credibility through obvious overreach. 6 months later, when the next opportunity comes, leadership knows who actually delivers. They've seen the pattern. Sarah talked a lot. You produced consistently. Who gets the promotion? But here's the key. You never looked like you were playing politics. You never looked petty. You just strategically managed perception while doing excellent work. That's Machiavelli. That's understanding the real game. Now here's where most people get Machiavelli completely wrong. They think he's advocating for being a manipulative, backstabbing, ruthless monster. They think it's about lying, cheating, crushing people. That's not what he's saying at all. In fact, Machiavelli repeatedly emphasizes that the appearance of virtue is crucial. Listen to this. Everyone sees what you appear to be. Few experience what you really are. Everyone sees what you appear to be. Few experience what you really are. This is the most important line in The Prince. This is the key to understanding power in any system. Reality matters less than perception. What people think about you matters more than what you actually are. You could be the most competent person in your company, but if nobody knows it, if you're invisible, if you haven't managed perceptions, it doesn't matter. Meanwhile, someone half as competent who's mastered visibility, who's strategic about their image, who's excellent at managing perceptions, they'll go further than you. This makes people angry. This feels unfair. But is it? Think about it from a different angle. You're hiring someone. You have two candidates. Candidate A has an impressive resume, strong references, presents themselves professionally, communicates clearly. Candidate B might be slightly more skilled but has a weak resume. Mediocre presentation, unclear communication. Who do you hire? You hire A. Why? Because everyone sees what they appear to be. You're making decisions based on the information available, and the information available is their presentation of themselves. Is that unfair, or is it rational? Machiavelli would say, stop whining about appearances mattering and start managing your appearances. Stop complaining that perception isn't reality and start strategically shaping perception. Because, like it or not, that's the world you live in. The question isn't whether appearances should matter. The question is, are you going to be naive and lose, or strategic and win? Here's another crucial Machiavellian principle that nobody wants to hear. People are predictably self-interested. Machiavelli writes, men are so simple and so subject to present necessities that he who seeks to deceive will always find someone who will allow himself to be deceived. Translation: most people are easy to predict because they follow their self-interest, their fears, their desires. And if you understand what motivates someone, you can anticipate their behavior. This sounds cynical until you really think about it. Is he wrong? When your coworker suddenly becomes friendly, is it because they genuinely care about you or because they need something? When your boss praises you excessively, is it because you're amazing or because they need you to take on extra work? When someone in your life guilt trips you, is it because you actually did something wrong or because guilt is an effective tool for controlling your behavior? Most people are running predictable patterns based on their needs, fears, and interests. Machiavelli isn't saying everyone is evil, he's saying everyone is human. And humans are driven by survival, by self-interest, by fear and desire. If you understand this, if you accept this, you become very hard to manipulate. Because you see the patterns. You recognize when someone is being nice because they want something. You notice when someone is creating urgency to prevent you from thinking clearly. You spot when someone is using your own values against you. Let me give you an example. Someone asks you for a favor, a big favor, one that will cost you time, energy, resources. They frame it as, I really need your help. You're the only one I can count on. This is really important to me. Now, if you're naive, you feel obligated. They need help. You should help. But if you're thinking strategically, you ask yourself, why me? Why now? What's their alternative? What do they gain? What do I lose? And often you realize they're asking me because they know I'll say yes. They're creating urgency to prevent consideration. They're using my desire to be helpful as leverage. Machiavelli would say, see the game, recognize what's happening. Then decide strategically whether to play along. Maybe you help anyway because there's strategic value in the relationship. Maybe you help because you genuinely want to. But you're not being manipulated, you're making a conscious choice from a position of clarity. That's the difference between being naive and being strategic. Now let's talk about the most controversial Machiavellian idea. The ends justify the means. People hate this. It sounds sociopathic, like it's giving permission to do anything as long as you achieve your goal. But that's not what Machiavelli is actually saying. He's saying that leaders, that people seeking to accomplish something significant, will inevitably face situations where all options have costs, where there is no good choice, only less bad ones, where the morally pure option leads to worse outcomes than the pragmatic one. Imagine you're leading a company. You discover that one division is failing, losing money, dragging down the whole organization. The morally comfortable option is to keep trying, to give people chances, to avoid the hard decision. The pragmatic option is to shut it down, redeploy resources, cut losses. That second option hurts people. People lose jobs, families are affected. It's not nice. But if you don't do it, the entire company eventually fails, and everyone loses their jobs. Which is more ethical? The nice decision that feels good but leads to catastrophe? Or the hard decision that causes immediate pain but saves the organization? Machiavelli would say, judge the leader by outcomes, not by whether they made comfortable choices. Did they save the company? Did they protect the majority? Did they make hard calls when necessary? That's what matters. Not whether they got to feel good about themselves, not whether they maintained their self-image as a good person. Reality doesn't care about your self-image. Results matter. And here's where this becomes really relevant to your life. You face smaller versions of this constantly. You have a friend who's toxic, draining, taking advantage of you. The nice thing is to keep accepting it, to keep giving chances. The strategic thing is to set boundaries or end the friendship. One feels good short-term. One produces better, long-term outcomes. You have a job that's slowly destroying you. The safe thing is to stay, to keep suffering, to wait for the perfect moment. The strategic thing might be to quit before you have something lined up, to force yourself into action, which is actually the right choice. Machiavelli isn't telling you the answer. He's telling you to think clearly about outcomes rather than just following comfortable social scripts. He's telling you that sometimes the right move looks wrong from the outside. Sometimes the strategic choice makes you look bad to people who don't understand the full situation, and you have to be okay with that. Here's another critical concept. Machiavelli says a leader must be both a lion and a fox. The lion represents strength, courage, the ability to intimidate threats. The fox represents cunning, the ability to recognize traps, to maneuver strategically. He says, "The one who knows only how to be a lion does not understand this. A wise prince must learn to be both beast and human." What does this mean for you? It means you need both strength and strategy. You need the ability to be direct, to confront, to hold your ground when necessary. But you also need the ability to be subtle, to navigate politics, to know when direct confrontation is stupid and maneuvering is smarter. Most people are all lion or all fox. The all lion people are strong but predictable, easy to outmaneuver. The all fox people are clever, but ultimately lack the strength to close, to finish, to enforce. Think about negotiations, the pure lion approach. This is my position. Take it or leave it. Sometimes that works. Often it creates unnecessary conflict, burns relationships, loses deals that could have been won with more subtlety. The pure fox approach, everything's negotiable, everything's flexible, lots of clever maneuvering, but without the willingness to walk away, without the strength to hold firm on key points, you get taken advantage of. The effective approach, know what you absolutely need and be a lion about those things. Be willing to fight, to walk away, to hold firm, know what's negotiable, and be a fox about those things. Be creative, flexible, strategic. Give ground where it doesn't matter to gain ground where it does. That's understanding when to be which animal. That's strategic thinking. Let me tell you about the Machiavellian principle nobody talks about, strategic generosity. Yes, generosity. Machiavelli says that appearing generous is crucial, but being genuinely generous all the time will bankrupt you. The key is strategic, visible generosity, being generous in ways people notice, in ways that build your reputation, in ways that create obligation and loyalty, but not being so generous that you have nothing left or that people take advantage. What does this look like? At work, you help people strategically. You don't help everyone with everything, burning yourself out and becoming invisible. You help key people with visible projects. You help in ways that people remember, that create reciprocal obligation, that build your reputation as helpful and valuable. You're generous with your time and expertise, but strategically so. You're building capital, not depleting it. In relationships, you're generous in ways that matter to the other person, not just in ways that are easy for you. You pay attention to what they value, what they need, what will actually create genuine appreciation rather than taken for granted routine. That's strategic generosity. That's understanding that generosity is an investment in relationships, and like any investment, it should be deployed thoughtfully for maximum return. This sounds calculated. It sounds manipulative. And it makes you uncomfortable because you want to believe that real generosity is thoughtless, automatic, unconditional. But think about it honestly. Who do you appreciate more? The person who helps everyone with everything and is consequently always stressed, often resentful and rarely available when you really need them? Or the person who's selective about their commitments, but when they help you, they're fully present, genuinely engaged, and extremely effective? Machiavelli understood something crucial about human nature. We don't value what comes too easily. We don't respect people who are always available. We take advantage of people who never say no. That's not because we're evil. That's because we're human. Scarcity creates value. Boundaries create respect. Strategic deployment of your resources, including your time and generosity, makes you more valuable, not less. Here's the Machiavellian truth about relationships, about power, about success that nobody wants to admit. It's not enough to be good at what you do. You have to be good at appearing good at what you do. You have to manage perceptions. You have to think politically. You have to be strategic about visibility, about relationships, about positioning. And the people who refuse to do this, who think, my work should speak for itself, they lose every single time. Because here's what Machiavelli understood. Your work doesn't speak for itself. It can't. It's an inanimate thing. You have to speak for it. You have to translate your work into a language decision-makers understand. You have to make your value visible. You have to position your contribution strategically. If you don't, someone else will take credit. Or worse, your work will simply be invisible and therefore irrelevant. This is why less talented people keep beating you. Not because they're better at the work, because they're better at the game around the work. They understand that getting results is only half the battle. The other half is making sure the right people know you got results, understand why it matters, and associate you with competence and value. They're playing Machiavelli's game. You're still pretending the game doesn't exist. Let me give you the most practical Machiavellian advice you'll hear. Start thinking like a strategist, not like a victim. Stop asking, why is this unfair? Start asking, what are the actual rules of this game? Stop complaining that appearances shouldn't matter. Start managing your appearances. Stop being frustrated that politics exists. Start learning how politics works. Stop resenting that self-interest drives behavior. Start understanding what people actually want so you can navigate around it or align with it. This doesn't mean become a sociopath. It doesn't mean abandon your values. It means add strategy to your values. Be a good person who also understands power. Be ethical, but not naive. Be honest, but strategic about when and how you're honest. Be generous, but not stupid about it. Be collaborative, but understand that not everyone is playing fair. Have principles, but also have tactical flexibility. Machiavelli's core insight, the one that makes his work immortal, is this. The world operates on certain principles whether you like them or not. Power follows patterns. Human nature is predictable. And the people who refuse to see these patterns, who insist on operating according to how they wish the world worked rather than how it actually works, those people get crushed. Not because they're bad people, because they're naive people. You can be angry about this. You can call it cynical. You can say Machiavelli represents everything wrong with humanity. But while you're having those feelings, while you're maintaining your moral purity, someone else is getting the promotion. Someone else is building the influence. Someone else is getting the resources, the opportunities, the outcomes, because they understand the game you're pretending doesn't exist. So here's your choice, and it's the choice everyone faces. You can be right, or you can be effective. You can maintain your comfortable beliefs about how things should work, or you can develop uncomfortable skills for how things actually work. You can keep losing while feeling morally superior, or you can start winning while maintaining your actual values, but adding strategic thinking to them. Machiavelli wrote The Prince as a manual for power, but really it's a manual for effectiveness in a world where power matters. And whether you like it or not, power matters everywhere. In your company, in your relationships, in your family, in your social circles, in every human system, there are power dynamics. There are people who understand them and people who don't. There are people playing strategically and people playing naively. The question is, which are you going to be? Are you going to keep pretending that merit alone is enough? That hard work is sufficient? That being good at your job means you'll be recognized and rewarded? Or are you going to wake up, see the game clearly, and start playing it strategically while maintaining your values? Because here's what Machiavelli really teaches. You can be strategic and ethical. You can be politically aware and principled. You can understand power without being corrupted by it. The most dangerous people aren't the ones who understand Machiavelli and use it for evil. The most dangerous people are the good people who refuse to understand it and therefore hand power to those who will absolutely misuse it. Think about it. If all the ethical, capable, good people refuse to play politics, refuse to think strategically, refuse to pursue power because it feels dirty, who ends up with all the power? The people with no such qualms. The people who will absolutely abuse it. You're not making the world more ethical by refusing to play the game. You're just ensuring the game is played entirely by people with no ethics. So maybe the most ethical thing you can do is understand Machiavelli, learn the rules, develop strategic thinking, acquire power, and then use it for good. Be the person who understands how the game works, but plays it with integrity. Be the fox and the lion. Be strategic and principled. Be politically aware and ethically grounded. Because the world needs people like that. The world doesn't need more naive idealists who lose every battle because they don't understand power. The world needs strategic idealists who understand power and use it to create actual change. It needs people who see clearly how things work and work within that reality to make things better. It needs people who read Machiavelli not to become monsters, but to avoid being victims. So stop being angry that Machiavelli was right about human nature. Stop resenting that the world works on power dynamics. Stop pretending that merit and hard work are enough. They're not. They never were. They're necessary, but not sufficient. You need merit and strategy, competence and positioning, substance and visibility, values and tactics. That's what this is really about. Not becoming a manipulative Machiavellian monster, but becoming a strategically aware person who can actually achieve things in the real world rather than just feeling good about your purity while accomplishing nothing. The choice is yours. But now you can't pretend you don't see it. Now you can't pretend the game doesn't exist. Machiavelli pulled back the curtain 500 years ago, and everything he saw is still true today. The question is, what are you going to do with that knowledge? Are you going to close this and go back to pretending? Or are you going to finally start thinking strategically? Because I promise you, someone in your life already is, and right now, they're winning.